The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. It is 5 a.m. on this Easter Monday morning. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher, and we have new details on an officer-involved shooting that happened over the weekend and left one man in the hospital. It happened Saturday night on Casa Loma Drive in southeast Bakersfield. Deputies were responding to reports of a shooting inside a home. When they got there, they say they were confronted by a man armed with a gun. That's what initiated the shooting. No deputies were hurt, but the man was sent to a hospital. We're still working to find out his condition.
2 people are dead and 4 more are facing life-threatening injuries following a crash on the Grapevine. It happened early yesterday morning near the Taiwan outlets. This was a solo car crash. Officers say the driver and all 5 of the passengers were ejected out of the car. 2 of them were already dead. The 4 others are in the hospital right now and in critical condition. No word yet on what caused the crash, but this was the second deadly crash on the 5 freeway over the weekend. On Saturday, 1 person was killed in a multi-car crash on the Highway 99 split.
Well, the city of Shafter is also dealing with a deadly crash. It happened yesterday afternoon on 7th Standard Road, just west of Highway 43. You can see the car appeared to have rammed a power pole. CHP says at least 1 person died. It's not clear if there was also a passenger inside this vehicle.
And a dirt biker is facing life-threatening injuries after a high-speed crash in Bakersfield. It happened last night on Balboa Drive. Officers say the driver was going pretty fast and somehow was launched from his dirt bike into a parked car. He was not wearing a helmet. He is alive right now and in the hospital, but he's in critical condition.
Well, after a week off, the trial for the couple charged in the deaths of their adopted sons resumes today. Trezell and Jacqueline West are on trial for the murders of their 2 adopted young boys, Orrin and Orson, who were reported missing from their California City home in late 2020. The boys' bodies have never been found. The case has garnered major public interest online since it began. The Kern County Superior Court says nearly 1,800 people tuned into the trial online, forcing the court to make licensing changes to its website. We've also have posted the link to the audio stream of the trial on our website, kget.com.
Tensions are rising in Taiwan as China began a second day of drills around the island it claims as its own territory. This all comes on the heels of Bakersfield Congressman and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's meeting with the Taiwanese president. Courtney Kuby reports from inside Taiwan.
On the second day of military exercises, a major escalation. Chinese military jets practice strikes against key targets in Taiwan. A Defense Ministry graphic showing a barrage of missiles fired from air, land, and sea, at least 1 simulated strike that seems to target the capital city, Taipei. Another 70 Chinese aircraft reported flying near Taiwan, and now 11 warships encircling it, training for a naval blockade. Taiwan's military saying they have monitored the situation and tasked our assets to respond, deeming the Chinese activities provocative. And displaying some of their own military might. Taiwan's Coast Guard releasing video of what appears to be a tense standoff with a Chinese warship, the Taiwanese ship warning the Chinese to turn around. The exercise in response to days of U.S. congressional leaders meeting with senior Taiwanese government officials. China saying this is a serious warning about Taiwan working with outside forces.
What does Taiwan really need to deter an attack or an invasion by China?
They need alliances. They need the weapons that I've signed off 3 to 5 years ago that have yet to go into country. And then they need a will to fight, and they will get that will to fight if they know the United States is backing them.
Monday, the 3rd and final day of the exercise, and now this question. Have they saved the largest or most provocative action for last? Courtney Kuby, NBC News, Taipei, Taiwan.
A criminal investigation is opened at the Pentagon after there was a leak involving dozens of classified documents on the war in Ukraine. More than 50 Pentagon documents were leaked, and many of them were labeled top secret. The classified documents were posted online and revealed details of the U.S. spying on Russia's war machine in Ukraine. They also included information on secret assessments of Ukraine's combat power, as well as intelligence gathering on America's allies, including South Korea and Israel. The Department of Defense is reviewing and assessing the validity of the photographed documents. A Bakersfield man facing federal charges after allegedly making threatening phone calls last year. The Department of Justice says on the day the Supreme Court overturned the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade case, 34-year-old Nishtha Tharaka Vandabona allegedly used an anonymous number and left a threatening message, including death threats to a Planned Parenthood Central Coast in the Santa Barbara area. Last year, Vandabona also allegedly called in a bomb threat to the Office of Californians for Population Stabilization, a nonprofit organization that advocates for zero population growth, primarily through immigration restrictions. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges and is scheduled to return to court May 30th. BPD is also looking for a suspect wanted in connection to a robbery in East Bakersfield earlier this year. Police say the man tried to steal from the Walmart on Fashion Place in Northeast Bakersfield on the evening of January 11th. BPD says when the suspect was confronted by a security officer, he pepper sprayed the security guard and ran off. The man's described as 30 years old, 5'5", with a medium build and a black mustache.
New developments now in the case against Wendy Howard, the Tehachapi woman charged in the shooting death of her ex-boyfriend. The 4-year legal ordeal came to an end right before the weekend when Howard accepted a plea deal. 17's Michaela Armstrong has more.
Support rang outside the courtroom after Wendy Howard entered her plea to a charge of voluntary manslaughter. Howard was accused of fatally shooting her ex-boyfriend, 57-year-old Kelly Reese Pitts, in 2019, days after learning he molested their daughter. She once was charged with murder and faced life in prison. With the plea, she will be sentenced only to time served and probation. And with the plea, she also maintains her innocence but acknowledges that prosecutors have enough evidence to find her guilty. Courtney Morris, a Wendy Howard Defense Committee organizer, says Howard defended herself when the system did not.
If the police and DA won't protect you, and if you can't protect yourself lest you be charged with murder, the message they're sending is you deserve to die.
Before entering the plea, Howard spent 3 months in custody, and during trial, Howard and her children testified about Pitt's violence before a jury. At trial, Howard testified she feared for her life during the 2019 confrontation with Pitts. Prosecutor Eric Smith argued she decided to take it into her own hands instead of letting police finish their investigation. However, Moore says Howard gained a lot of supporters because her case was part of a broader struggle for criminalized survivors.
The prosecution alleges to represent the people. They don't represent the people. The people did not want to pay for this to go to trial. The people did not want to see Wendy charged for defending herself.
According to Morris, Howard taking this plea is the start to moving towards the healing process and making up for lost time.
Time that's been robbed from her as a mother and a grandmother that she can't get back, and she only just wants more time with her family, and that's why she took the Alfred plea today.
Michaela Armstrong, 17 News.
Making news around the nation, today could be a pivotal day for at least one of the 2 Tennessee lawmakers expelled last week. The 2 were kicked out of the state legislature for their roles in leading a protest on the House floor. And now one may be about to get his seat back. Kathy Park has the latest.
2 Tennessee lawmakers fighting to take back their seat.
That the people will hold them accountable both at the county level and in the special election.
They are afraid of the changes that are happening in our society and the voices that are being elevated.
No action! No peace!
The GOP-controlled State House expelled Democratic Representatives Justin Jones and Justin Pearson for breaking the rules as they rallied for tougher gun control measures. It's now up to local leaders in their districts to pick their replacements until a special election that is yet to be announced. On Monday, the Metro Nashville Council will weigh in, and so far at least 23 members vowed to reappoint Representative Jones. Representative Pearson's fate lies with the Shelby County Board of Commissioners, and their meeting is still in the works. On this Easter Sunday, he addressed his former constituents at church.
The supermajority Republican legislature decided that it was time for us to go because it was, in our opinion, time to listen.
These men, along with Gloria Johnson, make up the Tennessee Three. The trio thrust into the national spotlight for speaking out after the mass shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville. Johnson was also up for expulsion, but survived the vote.
It might have to do with the color of our skin.
Our members literally didn't look at the ethnicity of the members that were up for expulsion.
Emotions running high, likely stretching through the week and beyond. Kathy Park, NBC News.
Washington State Senate passed a bill yesterday that would ban the manufacture and sale of guns defined as assault weapons. The bill passed 27-21. Senate Republicans pushed back against the bill with 20 amendments, but only 2 passed. The bill bans the sale, manufacture, and import of assault weapons in the state. However, it does not ban the possession of an assault weapon, and it allows for ownership by law enforcement and military service members, with an exception in cases of inheritance. And since the bill was amended in the state Senate, it must return to the House for further consideration.
The battle over abortion rights is taking center stage again. The latest fight comes after a Texas federal judge on Friday suspended FDA approval for a commonly used abortion pill. The ruling comes less than a year after the reversal of Roe v. Wade. NBC's Bree Jackson's in Washington with the latest.
The future of reproductive health care remains uncertain this morning after a Texas federal judge suspended the FDA approval of the most commonly used abortion pill.
This is not America. What you saw by that one judge in that one court in that one state, that's not America.
For now, women still have access to abortion medication, but if this judge's ruling holds up, the pills would be banned nationwide. 13 states already have bans in place.
I think it's important that we protect the sanctity of life. I believe in state rights.
Some Democrats say the White House should simply ignore the judge's ruling and not enforce a ban. The Biden administration vows to put up a fight and is appealing the decision.
For America's sake and for women's sake, we have to prevail in this.
The issue could make its way to the Supreme Court after a federal judge in Washington state ruled to protect the drug in more than a dozen states. The dueling rulings set up more contentious court and political battles.
This isn't a call to action for everyone, whether it's in the court system, whether it's when we go to vote.
We can win this issue at the ballot box if we show up with reasonable positions. If we have our head in the sand, we're going to lose.
A new poll found 64% say abortion should be legal in all or most cases. And the abortion pill will likely be available throughout the appeal process due to emergency requests by the Justice Department and the drug's manufacturer. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.